Paul, just first of all, outline what you were presenting here.
So we did a piece of consultancy with Narita Airport at the back end of 2014. The primary driver was to help Narita look at the whole passenger process, see how we could perhaps align the airline slightly better in terms of a single delivery of a fast travel experience through to their passengers.
And how did that work out, and what did you learn?
Pretty good, actually. What we learned was that Narita actually has led the world in many of these facilities in terms of self-service check-in. However, over the years it hadn't progressed as far as some of the other countries, Europe, the States, for example. So we really were there to help them fill in the gaps from where they started many years ago to what the best practice is today.
So that's a case of someone being at the sort of forefront in terms of the ideas, but then perhaps getting overtaken by developments elsewhere.
A little bit, but there's also a cultural bias there because it's very much a service-orientated market, and really the service thing takes over the technology per se. And what we were trying to do is to say that the mix of passengers is not just local passengers, but increasingly a global passenger complement, and therefore you really have to widen the offer. And they've accepted that and starting to work on some of the recommendations we've made.
I was going to say those recommendations. So what did IATA say to Narita about things that they needed to consider?
So some very simple things. For example, signage. If you look at Narita, there's a myriad of signage. It's duplicated. It actually covers some of the walkways for passengers. So that's one thing they need to really declutter. The second part is how do we look after the baggage process? It's still very much manual. It's very much a single passenger to a desk. It takes 2 to 3 minutes. What we're looking to do is help them deploy a bag drop facility so they can broaden that to all of their passengers.
I'm interested in something you touched on, which is about cultural differences. In terms of airports around the world, I guess that's an important factor to take on board when we talk about how the experience for passengers has changed, and we're more confident now, perhaps, particularly in Europe, with self-service and self-check-in. Not always the case elsewhere.
No, it's not, and there are two issues really. One is a cultural one, a cultural bias. Passengers favour a hands-on service. The interesting thing about that is that passengers actually are saying something that's not quite that. They're actually saying, we want to take advantage of self-service in the UK, in New York, anywhere in the world, including Japan, Singapore, China. So really the game has changed from a cultural bias locally to really a more internationalised product, and we believe that's where IATA can help them.
And why is it important for IATA to have the sessions such as you have here? Why is that an important opportunity?
It's the biggest conference. PTE is the biggest by far, and it's where all our customers, all our potential clients are. Our airlines are here, our airport members are here, so it makes sense for us to come to where they are and really be able to deliver them a full message across the whole day as opposed to bits and pieces throughout the conference.